Um, I'll just start out with first a small comment to Tedson, who's been a dear friend and somebody very special for a long time. And I'll just kind of toot his horn for something that's very eclectic that he's done that most of you are not aware of. If you want to go home tonight and watch Roman Holiday, Tedson is in the movie, and he can tell you if you get him aside later where he is in it, because otherwise you won't have a chance of finding it. But it's a lot of fun. And Tedson, I thank you very much. I also, as part of greeting Tedson tonight, told a little joke about the Marine Corps, but I don't think I want to repeat that. So let me welcome you all. Every year this gets better and better and better. Bran and several others who were here last year, and certainly the board members, remember how spectacular last year was, and I think we just keep reinventing it, and I think we all owe a tremendous debt to Monica and Walda and Constance and so many others for everything they've done to make this whole day such an extraordinary success. I'd like to begin. We are so very honored and pleased that when we try to pick awardees, we try to pick people who are extraordinary in our times. Certainly, Stephen Hawking is one of those people, and we are so very delighted, and I think he was as well delighted to be part of this with us. And I would like to turn this over to Eric, who will introduce and explain what it was we did. We had an opportunity. Obviously, it was impractical for him to come here and join us tonight, but we put together something here that will be live streamed, will be available, so that even those of us who are not here tonight will have a chance to view this and see one of the very, very special people of our times.
Thank you so much. My name is Dr. Eric Beery. I am the Associate Director of the Arthur C. Clarke Center for Human Imagination at UC San Diego. And Walda, thank you so much for the privilege of being able to stand up here for you today. I'd also like to thank our special sponsors, both in the Clarke Foundation and at home in California, who support our research and activities. We just have a whole lot of fun. Come and tell me, I'll tell you stories about even just this week. But what I would like to do actually, just because it's such a special thing, is to acknowledge a visitor to our audience tonight. A true humanities hero, the man who was the lunar module co-pilot of Apollo 11, Buzz Aldrin. Thank you so much, Dr. Aldrin, and I will call you Dr. Aldrin because, and I know you had a little nickname that Tweety Bird told me from MIT called Doc Orbits because your work was on studying orbital mechanics. Rendezvous. And what is the key element of rendezvous? Gravity, right? So dealing with gravity and acceleration, and that's Dr. Cycler. And now gravity is important. And that is the theme and the linkage for us with our award this evening. So gravity is an amazing theme for us this year. Both the science of gravity with this year's Nobel Prize of this discovery of gravity waves, and our illustrious Arthur C. Clarke, who was a technologist of gravity. He understood gravity as a technology and invented the geosynchronous satellite as a means of communicating for humanity around the world. And so what I'd like to do is riff a little bit on this linkage and people who were linked to our award winner, Professor Hawking. And the linkage, one of the linkages is with a previous Clarke Foundation Award winner, Peter Diamandis. Peter was the founder of International Space University, the founder of Singularity University, and most fun for me was the founder of Zero G Corporation, a company dedicated to giving the experience of weightlessness to all people. And it's a whole lot of fun. And I had the great privilege of being the chief medical officer of Zero G Corporation, and through that was able to take Stephen Hawking and explore gravity fields with him. And so I was Stephen Hawking's doctor for 4 minutes in weightlessness. And so that's another linkage because, of course, Arthur C. Clarke sought the new technology of the aqualung and wanted to go and experience weightlessness in the oceans, and that led him to the reefs of Sri Lanka, which I saw a little rupee earlier this evening. Somebody had a rupee from the reefs of Sri Lanka that Sir Arthur discovered in his weightless investigations on the other side of the world. So gravity is our theme. And the other theme is the linkage of television and communications. So Sir Arthur was importantly, for those in the 1960s, one of the commentators on television for the Apollo moon landings. And so you can look those videos up on YouTube and see his story about that. So the other amazing linkage, YouTube is this incredible Wayback Machine. We can go back and see things that we couldn't see even 5 or 10 years ago, and now you just put it in YouTube, Google, and there it is. And so I did that, and it turns out that in 1988, the year I studied at Space University, the BBC did an interview where they had Carl Sagan via satellite and Stephen Hawking in person with Arthur C. Clarke. And again, you can see that video on YouTube, and I highly commend it to you. It's just so fun. The BBC interviewer was brilliant, and our heroes were there. So Stephen Hawking is now the emeritus professor of the Lucasian Chair of Mathematics at Cambridge University. Again, another important linkage to gravity. That is the same chair that Isaac Newton held at Cambridge University. So it is stunning the linkage of those people who studied gravity and are working the science of gravity. It's an amazing thing. So I'll just come with the last comment that in the interview, Sir Arthur says that science fiction, it does free the imagination. And Hawking acknowledges, as so many of us, many scientists and explorers do, that the science fiction stories were the ones that drove them out there, and Hawking says that himself. So, of course, as you know, Professor Hawking has very limited means to travel, and so 2 weeks ago, 2 of the board members from the Clarke Foundation traveled to Cambridge and recorded this message from Professor Hawking, and so I give you this evening's Lifetime Achievement Award winner from the Arthur Clarke Foundation, Stephen Hawking.
Thank you to the Arthur C. Clarke Foundation for honoring me with your Lifetime Achievement Award. I'm only 75, a full quarter-century younger than Sir Arthur would be this month, so I'd like to add an editorial addendum to the word lifetime, which are the words, so far. I feel especially honored to receive this award, for several reasons. The first is for the honor of the award itself. those who have preceded me in receiving this award have indeed made impressive contributions. It is no small task to be judged as having met what would have been Arthur's expectations for intellectual rigor, powered by imagination, insatiable curiosity, and concern for our planet and its inhabitants. The second reason is that it coincides with Arthur's centenary celebration. I am delighted that this has given me a chance to salute him on this special occasion. We had several things in common. Certainly, the ability to laugh at ourselves was one. Another was the power and freedom of boundless imagination. This continues to serve me well, as it did for Arthur in his later years, when he was confined to a wheelchair because of the onset of post-polio syndrome. And then there was the fact that we both yearned to experience weightlessness. Arthur found it for much of his life, diving in the beautiful waters off of Sri Lanka. I found it with the help of my friends Peter Diamandis, a previous Clarke Award winner, and his Zero G Corporation, and Dr. Rick Meyer, now of the Arthur C. Clarke Center for Human Imagination, who you will by now have all met. And third, I'm honored to be able to use the occasion of this award to underscore the critical importance to us all of the future of humanity. The initiative being launched today in honor of Arthur reaffirms his fervent belief in the essentiality of imagination as a core partner with empiricism in resolving major challenges to the future of our planet and the future of humans. I understand that Unleash Imagination, Shape the Future is aimed at people of all ages. I have a special interest in reaching out to young people to help them understand and imagine the wonder of the universe. This I have been doing with my daughter Lucy in the George series of books. Young people, the future is yours to determine. I challenge you to make it count. If you build a strong base in science, technology, mathematics, and the arts, and power it throughout your lives with your imagination, opportunities are wide open for you. Arthur said, the only way to understand the limits of the possible is to venture a little way past them into the impossible. Keep on striving for the impossible, fueled by your dreams and imagination. For the rest of us, it's not too late to follow your dreams. Generating, testing, and applying new ideas is the most important work. Big challenges require fresh thinking and the courage to advance it. The notion of unleashing our imaginations, personally and in our work lives, is both timely and critical. Let me talk about the future. Arthur was prescient about so many developments that were categorized as science fiction, yet today are real. If Arthur's imaginings seemed perhaps too fantastic at the time, I hope mine will sound completely plausible. To ponder how we can unleash imagination to create the future, let's first consider its likely catalysts. They include artificial intelligence, practical quantum computers, and genomics. As a cosmologist, I have spent most of my life contemplating the physical laws of the universe that govern time and space. We cannot think about the future without connecting it to the technology that increasingly runs our lives. Our technology will help determine whether humans survive at all. Take AI. Arthur Spellbeck at Siri and Alexa. The AlphaGo computer recently beat the world's best human player at Go. AI offers great possibilities to make human life better. For instance, researchers are developing AI that would help reverse paralysis in people with spinal cord injuries. Using silicon chip implants and wireless electronic interfaces between the brain and the body, the technology would allow people to control their body movements with their thoughts. Deep and reinforced learning will impart greater and more complex contextual intelligence to computers. But there is a flip side to advancing AI. The risk is that AI can outsmart us, and perhaps even harm us. Advanced AI programs will run on practical quantum computers. These will revolutionize artificial intelligence with exponentially faster speeds. They will advance encryption. Quantum computers will change everything, even human biology. There is already one technique to precisely edit DNA. It is called CRISPR, or clustered regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats. The basis of this genome editing technology is a bacterial defense system. It can accurately target and edit stretches of genetic code. The best intention of genetic manipulation is that modifying genes would allow scientists to treat genetic causes of disease by correcting gene mutations. There are, however, less noble possibilities for manipulating DNA. How far we can go with genetic engineering will become an increasingly urgent question. We can't see the possibilities of curing motor neuron diseases, like my ALS, without also glimpsing its dangers. Genetic engineering will happen in this millennium, whether we want it or not. There will be arguments, both ethical and economic. If the same tools can both end and inflict human suffering, who will steer it where? But, as Arthur said, if we open our imaginations and pair them with what we know, anything is possible. I ultimately believe that space travel will ensure our survival. Finding new habitats in the solar system should be our long-term strategy. The risks to our survival here on Earth are substantial. Where will we go? I leave that up to you, because you are the future scientists and designers and policy makers who will get us there. Think of the possibilities. A tunnel just discovered on the moon appears to be more than 30 miles long and lies more than 300 feet below the surface. Could it contain ice or water to support human settlers? Could Mars support humans with evolved DNA? What about the planets near Proxima Centauri? That's only 4.5 light years away from Earth, or 27 trillion miles. I am having fun right now, working with the science philanthropist Yuri Milner, to make interstellar travel a reality. It is called Breakthrough Starshot. Science fact is catching up with science fiction. Breakthrough Starshot brings together three concepts: miniaturized spacecraft, light propulsion, and phase-locked lasers. Thanks to imagination and ingenuity, this long-term research and development program aims to make interstellar travel a reality. If we succeed, we will send a probe to Alpha Centauri within the lifetime of some of you here today. So, fundamental questions remain. Are we doing what we must to lead advances in AI, genetic engineering, space travel, and other technologies so that we humans benefit, or are we on a path that risks falling victim to them? Are we appropriately addressing the challenges that face humankind? What future possibilities will you imagine? Remember to look up at the stars and not down at your feet. Unleash your imagination. Shape the future. Thank you for listening.